Back in, or welcome to the channel. Hope you guys can hear me. Okay. I was just trying to see if you guys can hear me because again, I am using a different headset and the little bubble thing is not like pulsating, showing that I'm talking, but I'm assuming that I am talking. Okay, so I guess if you guys can't hear me, then you will come in here and say that you can't hear me. But either way, so I just wanted to, of course, we're just going to flow with things here when it pertains to, what's going on. So, and I specifically just wanted to talk about the news that's been going on for the last couple of days. And then we will talk about the Lizzo situation, Lizzo's lawsuit. I think I'm going to pull a horary, an event chart to kind of like see how Lizzo is feeling at the moment when it pertains to this whole lawsuit situation. Okay. But yeah, let's just talk about some things that's been going on the last couple days. So right off of top, um the one of the main characters from Euphoria, Angus Cloud, if you don't know, he passed away unexpectedly. So of course that's always sad to hear. So I hate whenever it does that. We're gonna have to figure out another way to do this. For Because every time I do that, it's like the comments go away. But either way, so hold on. I'll figure it out later, I guess, or right now. But anyway, so yeah, we'll look at this for a second. Ignore the ads. Wonder if I could add it there. Anyway, so yeah, this is pretty sad. And shockingly, right now, I'm actually watching Euphoria. I'm on season 2, episode 1. But anyway, so here he is, this guy. Of course, I'm definitely not going to pull the chart, but I'm just catching you guys up on the news, so you guys can also know the 411 since we are a tad bit nosy these days when it pertains to what's going on. So, yeah, Fez, otherwise known as Angus Cloud, well, he played Fez on Euphoria. He died, unfortunately. And the crazy thing is that he just buried his dad last week. So can you imagine the energetic like pressure that one must feel on like their heart, on their body whenever you lose somebody that you're close to? It's different whenever you lose somebody in your family and they're like distant cousins or distant relatives and it's just like, oh, you're sad, but it doesn't hit like it would if it's like your mom or your dad. And like I said, especially if that's you knew growing up. That was like your best friend. That was like your the closest one that you were to. That can hit you like a ton of bricks. And some people just can't recover from that. It's almost like people who are married for years and years and years, then one of them dies, and then shortly after the other partner ends up passing away. What do they call that? Like broken heart syndrome or something like that? I mean, dying of a broken heart is definitely a real thing. Maybe just to me, but I can totally see that. Okay. But anyway, so the fire department. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't understand why my kids just feel like they don't have to knock. Yeah. So the fire department responded to a medical emergency at approximately 11:30 a.m. and the patient in this instance would be Angus was already deceased. The cause of death was unknown and the department or the police department confirmed that it remains an active death investigation. So his family, of course, ended up leaving a statement. But if he was already dead, I mean, and if I remember correctly, his history, I think he actually did struggle with like substance abuse and stuff like that in the past, which I believe he said that could have took him out as well. And then, he ended up playing a drug dealer on Euphoria. So I really don't understand that, in my opinion, when it pertains to Hollywood casting these actors. If you know that this person has a long history when it comes to substance abuse or drug abuse, why the hell would you cast them in a role that deals with the same thing that they're running from? It's very dark and it doesn't necessarily make any sense to me. Okay? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And it's just ridiculously unfortunate because 25, I mean, whoa, you're still young. You still got a lot of life to live. You know what I'm saying? So, um, of course. Hello, Karina. Welcome in. Oh, I need to say hi to everybody. Of course, where are my manners? So hey, High Priestess, Jelly Belly, Karina, Karina again. Hello, everybody. Oh, who? Oh, I'm glad that guys can hear me okay because that has been a complaint, and I'm just trying to get it together. Oh, High Priestess, I'm glad that it's helped you. So now I'm going to actually go ahead and do my Google search for wherever the other thing. I mean, maybe that's just me. It just doesn't make any sense to me why you would cast me in a role knowing good and hell well that I've struggled with substance abuse my whole entire life and to throw me, and actually if I'm not mistaken, I think a lot of the people in Euphoria actually have a past history of some sort of like deep rooted trauma or drug abuse. And to me that is just so dark. It's so low. I mean, I get acting, you want acting to be a real thing, but come on. I mean, method actors are a real thing, and just it's like in a way it almost comes across like you were kind of like doomed from the minute that you said, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to act in this particular series and I'm going to be the same thing that I've been battling my whole entire existence." That's crazy to me. But let's go ahead and we'll try to see. Oh, okay, here's the next story that we're going to look at in case you guys have not been listening. But remember I talked about this, what I'm about to say. I talked about this during last year's predictions, or maybe it was this year, when I believe one of you guys did ask me if Donald Trump was going to be indicted. Now, I said I do feel like he's going to have charges. I can't remember the exact number, so one of you guys is going to have to remind me of the number that I said, how many charges that he was looking to get. Um, but I also made note that there is a certain amount of diplomatic immunity that one would have, especially if you were a president, which is why I've said multiple times the best thing he probably did for himself was to become president and actually, make it to the end. Because can you imagine if it was a failed presidency and all this stuff came out, he would likely be sitting in a jail right now. Very likely, in my opinion. So I'm about to share my screen again so you guys can see what I am talking about. I mean, this just came out a couple hours ago. So maybe you haven't had a chance to take a look at it. But yes. So like I said, we're just being a little bit, we're not, it's not nosy per se because most of this stuff is front page news. But here is what just happened maybe about, was this an hour ago, less than an hour ago? He has been indicted again, charged in special counsel probe of the 2020 election interference. So the charges mark the third criminal indictment against Donald Trump since he launched his latest bid for the 2024 Republican nomination. No other U.S. president, of course, current or former, dead or alive, gone to glory, or still walking on earth, has ever faced criminal charges. Well, they weren't going to really be, even though, war crimes are a thing. Unfortunately, nobody has charged any former or current president with war crimes, and we're not going to get into that. But either way, so the probe was led by special counsel Jack Smith, who oversaw a separate investigation into Trump's retention of classified documents at his resort home, Mar-a-Lago, which is in Florida, after he left the White House in 2021. In June, Trump was charged with 37 counts related to his alleged efforts to conceal those records from the government. He received additional charges in the case last week, stemming from an alleged effort to delete surveillance footage from the Palm Beach club. Now, of course, he has pleaded not guilty. They are expecting him to plead not guilty in this latest case as well. But I believe it is Why don't they ever tell you the exact? I know, of course, there's three charges, but they never want to tell you the exact ones. It's almost like you got to fish for 50 million articles to, get it. What was? But anyway, he's probably going to plead guilty. It's still spinning. It probably can't search well whenever I am doing that. D1. I spoke about that in predictions, and I said I don't think so. I actually said that this time around, in terms of Trump running for president, I don't necessarily think it is going to be the best decision for him. That could be health wise, or it could be in this particular wheelhouse when it pertains to more charges coming. 78 charges is a lot for anybody, any political representative. I don't know a political representative ever that has faced 78 charges. Maybe there is one somewhere, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, that's a lot of charges to have for one person, especially one person that ran the country. I mean, that's unheard of. So that just happened with Trump. I don't know if you guys are interested in me doing a personality energy reading, I guess, in a way, or looking at her natal chart when it comes to Summer Walker and Erica Badu have been trending very heavily over the last 2 days. And actually, since we're talking about Erica Badu, in case you guys did not know, she has been in the news as well because she is accusing Beyonce of jacking her style. Now we know Erica Badu likes to wear those humongous top hats, right? Like the same top hat that Abraham Lincoln wore. So, it's crazy that she would insinuate that Beyonce is, copying her style whenever top hats, large top hats, it's not like they just rolled into style this year or whenever Erica Badu decided to put them on. She may be another interesting one to do a personality reading on as well. Okay. Um, because we know that she is super spiritual, or she says she's super spiritual. But I don't know. I guess there's just something there when it pertains to her. I don't know. It's like something is off. Like I understand her being spiritual, but a part of me feels like that it's maybe not necessarily truly spiritual. Like it's not truly awakened as she may be trying to lead the world to believe. But that's my opinion. Okay. So yeah, Erica Badu went to her Instagram yesterday and she accused Beyonce of, like I said, jacking her style. She said, I guess I'm everybody's stylist. Because I guess on Beyonce's tour right now, she wore some type of silver top hat and is sort of similar to what Badu has worn in the past. But like I said before, um, Abraham Lincoln has also worn a top hat. And I think Pharrell has probably worn a top hat as well. So, I mean, we might just have another delusional person on our hands when it pertains to, Miss Erica Badu. But we got that story out of the way. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of the shimmy shimmy rundown when it pertains to stuff that's going on in the world. Uh, you know, I mean, come on, we all and I've talked about Beyonce before. I don't really think she's on the up and up or copacetic. If you guys missed my bad audio reading of Beyonce and Jay Z, you should go back and you should listen to it because I actually spoke about their relationship. So her stealing things from people, am I surprised? No, because I say this all the time. I don't put anything past anybody, so it doesn't bother me. Mhm. Oh, hey, thanks, Jelly Belly, for even time stamping it. So, I'm gonna put Jelly Belly's comment on the screen so you guys can see that she went back and or they went back, excuse me, and they found something in my predictions where I talked about Donald and some other things. So I appreciate that, Jelly Belly. At an hour and 2 minutes in the 2023 predictions, that's where I talk about Donald Trump. And then, of course, we talked about other predictions as well. Even some remember I talked about mummification and some other things in the last predictions that ended up coming true so fast. So this is kind of why we're here. But from now on, when I come into lives, I might just have to give you guys a little bit of a rundown in terms of what's going on in the world in case you are behind. So let's take a look at this Lizzo situation. Now, these claims are pretty serious, to be honest, okay? But yet again, when it pertains to the world of Hollywood and the world of celebrities or just people in general, I don't really put anything past them. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to pull up this article. Lizzo accusations. Okay, so NBC News is actually the first news platform that I saw run this story. So that's the one that we're going to take a look at. I need to make this smaller, make this bigger. Oh, yeah, thank you. January 1st. Thank you, Jelly Belly. 'Cause I think I've did a couple of prediction videos this year. All right, so this is the jelly that we sorry, Jelly Belly. I just want to say jelly for some reason. But this is the jelly that we're going to be looking into when it pertains to Lizzo once it loads. There it is. It just takes forever to load these sites because they have so many like pop-ups, they have so many like mini video things run in the background when you're trying to read the article. But anyway, so former Lizzo dancers were weight shamed and pressured while at a strip club, according to a lawsuit. Now, these three former dancers filed a lawsuit against Lizzo, and they also are accusing her of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. So let's get more into the details. So the lawsuit was filed on Tuesday. The dancers who brought the lawsuit against Lizzo are also alleging that she pressured one of them to touch a new performer at an Amsterdam club and subjected the group to an excruciating audition after leveling false accusations that they were drinking on the job. The dancers also accused Lizzo of calling attention to their weight gain or one of the dancers' weight gain and later berating, then firing that dancer after she requested a meeting because of a health condition. The lawsuit, which was filed in Los Angeles, accuses the captain of Lizzo's dance team of posterizing, I don't know how you say that, to other performers and deriding those who had premarital sex while sharing lewd sexual fantasies, simulating oral sex, and publicly discussing the virginity of one of the plaintiffs, which is pretty bad. It's almost like you're outing somebody. Like if somebody is not very comfortable with their sexuality, that's just as bad as you outing someone. So apparently, she outed someone's virginity. So, so the lawsuit does not say if Lizzo knew about the allegations linked to the dance captain, Shirlene, but the plaintiffs believe that the singer was aware of their complaints about her. The lawsuit names Lizzo, whose real name is Melissa Jefferson, her production company, and her dance captain, which is Shirlene right here, as defendants. In addition to the accusations of a hostile work environment and sexual harassment, the suit brings claims for religious and racial harassment, false imprisonment. Now, this is very concerning. Okay, I mean, sexual harassment is bad, but as well, no, but false imprisonment, that is pretty bad too. This whole thing is bad, but I did not know. I read this article, like skimmed it, but I don't remember reading the false imprisonment situation. Interference with prospective economic advantage and other allegations. The suit accuses Lizzo of calling attention to the dancer's weight after an appearance at South by Southwest Musical The singer and her choreographer later told the dancer Ariana Davis that she seemed less committed to her role, a comment the suit describes as a thinly veiled concern about her weight. Now we know Lizzo is into the body positivity movement. So as far as this little portion is concerned, I'm curious. What do you mean concerned about her weight? Is she losing weight? Was she losing weight and you didn't want her to lose weight? Was she gaining more weight? And it's just like, okay, we have an issue here. So I didn't look at the actual lawsuit in its entirety. I might decide to pull that later, but I have not looked at that. So I might have to try to get that later on to see exactly what you mean by that because it can go a couple different ways since we're talking about how Lizzo is in the body positivity situation. Okay. So, um, because I think I almost said Amy Schumer. That's not the one. Rebel Wilson. I remember her talking about whenever she played Fat Amy on Pitch Perfect, it was in her contract that she pretty much was not allowed to lose weight because she would be going through the same thing from producers, kind of like them berating her and stuff, if she was to lose weight. And I think she said she was like stuck in that contract for so long where she like couldn't really lose and she couldn't really gain. So that's pretty crazy. And I don't know if she was in that contract for like 10 years or something like that. But like I said, that's why we're here. So if you didn't hear about those Lizzo allegations, now you've heard about them. So now we're going to take a look at the astrology for this because, like I said, when it pertains to Lizzo, this is pretty bad. Sexual harassment, false imprisonment, body shaming, pretty much. Being an all around bad person. I know that's not going to be in the lawsuit because you can't sue somebody for being an all around bad person if they're just bad and you just don't like them as a person. Now, if they do stuff that is definitely detrimental or harmful to you, then yeah, but you just can't be like, oh, I want to sue you because I think you're a bad person. Where's the proof? So you can't do one of those. But these allegations are serious. And then we could probably take a look at Lizzo's natal chart as well, because Lizzo is one of the women that we have not did as far as like rap girls or performers and stuff like that. So we'll take a look at that as well. Trying to look at the time because I have to put in the time for this event chart. It is 6:57 my time. That's 18 in military time. I kind of don't know if I like the fact that I'm learning military time, to be honest with you, because it kind of grinds my gears a little bit, but I'm slowly getting used to it a little bit because you kind of have to put it in military time on astro.com. So, trying to finish loading this. Where is it? Reconcile. Here we go. Let's take a look, shall we? Okay, pull this out, make this smaller. Okay, here is the chart. Okay, I was about to say, I hope my thing does not. Okay, I'm about to show you guys the chart right now. Here we go. Okay, so here's the event chart that I created when it pertains to the Lizzo allegations. Okay. Why are you there? Oh no. I always do that. Okay, I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger. I know this thing is huge, but just just try to walk with me here. Okay, so whenever I've talked about event charts, and I did an event chart for, remember the Carly Russell situation? And remember, I don't remember exactly what I said, but some of what I said, they did talk about at the press conference. Even I don't know if he's the chief of the police or something, even he himself pretty much piggybacked off of what I said about them trying to figure out how they want to charge her. And he kind of was saying the same thing, kind of like, okay, the charges here, I don't necessarily know if I really agree with him in a way because he feels like it should be more, like the punishment should fit the crime. But it also goes to what I said before that Carly is being protected by Jupiter. Because think about the backlash that was received after she was charged. There wasn't really any type of negative backlash if you think about it. It was more so people throwing in time periods in history saying that, so and so, and specifically Emmett Till was an example. And I'm not saying that's a valid example, but I'm just saying you can see what I'm saying. A lot of people bringing up a lot of things that happened in history and like, they did this, they didn't get any jail time, et cetera, et cetera. So it still rolls into what I was saying before about how she ends up being protected by Jupiter. And then on top of that, her charges are just misdemeanors. Ugh, that's nothing. But we'll just have to see how that plays out. Okay. But anyway, so it's like the same type of flow we have here when it pertains to creating an event chart. And what I want to do here is I want to look at how Lizzo is feeling right now when it pertains to this particular lawsuit. Now, as I've mentioned before, in these event charts, since it's going based off of where the planets are at this exact moment, you're going to read it a little bit differently than a natal chart, okay? Because in this instance, Lizzo is going to be signified by the seventh house. Because I wouldn't give her the first house because I don't know Lizzo on that particular level. Lizzo also has not asked me to read this particular chart. And the seventh house is a public house. So, of course, she is a public figure. Hence why I'm placing the seventh house for her. Okay. So she is signified by Cancer. Okay. Now, what is Cancer's planetary ruler? Well, that would be the moon, and it is in the first house. Oddly enough, okay. So before I even get into reading about the planets and stuff like that, with it being in the first house is the house of self, right? So for some reason it makes me think selfish, but also the moon is in Aquarius, which natural well not well the gripe with Aquarius always is that they are detached. Okay. So, right now, right off the bat, before we even get into degrees, theory, and stuff like that, in this particular instance, Lizzo is coming across to me that she is quite attached excuse me. If I said attached, I meant detached. Lizzo is detached when it pertains to this entire situation at this now. It's not saying it can't change, and it probably will change because she's being signified by a very fast moving planet. We know the moon changes signs every 2.5 days, and plus it's a full moon today in Aquarius. Now we know that Aquarius is naturally tied to what? Humanities, like charities and stuff, elder siblings, community, social media. Okay. So we can maybe make another assumption as well that maybe Lizzo is coming across detached because either we may possibly see some sort of a smear campaign coming up, possibly. Okay. And since the moon is making an opposition to the sun makes me think of father, kings. Who knows? This may possibly by her label, or it could just be by a manager or somebody that has some sort of a power on her. I would think label, but we're gonna wait and see. Like I said, it could be some sort of smear campaign or something like that that could be coming out, pretty much going against what these three former dancers are saying. Hence why she's possibly in this state of detachment. Okay. But also, since the first house is tied to the face, right? There is, even though she's probably trying to put on a poker face and probably trying to act detached in a way, there to me seems to be anxiety deep, deep down in there, but she is not trying to show it. Because also Moon is making a square to Jupiter. And remember, I talked about before, guys, in charts, how Jupiter Pluto can be support of the public. So even though she's having this, because for her, it could be coming, she could be feeling like, okay, I've been through this before. The public has, or social media has came in and defended me. So she could be banking on how things went for her in the past. Okay. But also, since we have Jupiter, which is making an aspect to Lizzo, Jupiter is struggling to expand in this is tension to me. Jupiter likes to expand whatever it touches. It especially likes, you know, getting along groovy with the moon. But in this square aspect, we have some difficulties here. Like I said, there's tension, especially when it pertains to your legacy, especially when it pertains to what you're building. I'm not sure if she is trying to build a home or something like that, but already is coming across like she's only focusing on what this is going to mess up in terms of if she's building a house, if she's trying to build, who knows, a production company, a dance company. She ain't really thinking about the fact that, oh my God, maybe I really did do something that was out of line and I hurt them. No, she is all about Lizzo at this particular point, if we're talking about in the event chart. Now, we're going to go over some other things in just a second, but I specifically just want to focus on the moon. Now, with the moon making an aspect here, an opposition, or is that a square? Might be a square. No, it's an opposition. That's what I'm thinking. The moon is making an opposition to the sun, right? And I've talked about it in the past how moon sun dynamic is supposed to be a balance of emotions. You know what I'm saying? But with it being opposition and it's separating, this almost feels like somebody who, like I said, deep down, she is losing emotional control. That poker face is possibly going to fall, or this could simply just represent the poker face has failed, and this lawsuit signifies her poker face has failed, especially when it pertains to her public image. So you could try to put on brave face all you want to, but again, we know moon is mind and Mercury is intellect, right? So mind is probably going haywire right now, trying to figure out a way how I can turn this back on myself. So who knows, the moon being in Aquarius, this almost again, remember I talked about charities and stuff like that. It wouldn't even be surprise me if they pull a it wouldn't surprise they pull a, a bunny out the hat and now all of a sudden you're being charitable in some sort of a way. I mean, I'm not buying it, but you're trying to turn the attention back on something that you're already building, or you're just trying to turn the attention back on you. For some reason, it almost makes me feel like I wouldn't even be surprised if like a TikTok something comes out of this where she is creating some type of new dance or something like that. Okay. Now, I don't know where she picked up these dancers from, but maybe she picked up these dancers with the allegations against her. Maybe she picked them up from social media, hence, like I said, TikTok, or, maybe even Instagram. If they posted a video and then now you're in their inbox and you're just like, oh my God, you would be great when it pertains to my dance company or whatever the situation is. So let's take a look at the degree of the moon. Now, the moon, as you can see right here, is on 12 degrees Aquarius, and like I said, it is in the first house. Remember, I also talked about the story of Artemis, who is the moon god. Remember how I said Artemis's issue is that people don't bow to her, people don't show her respect. You know, so it could be as simple as, like I said, I made an example before, not speaking to her, not saying hi or something like that. When you could just be laser focused on something else that you have to do, and you just haven't thought about saying hi. She's gonna punish you for that. So in some sort of a way, Lizzo may kind of be the same way as well. She may kind of be the same way in terms of expecting people to worship her in that particular capacity. But this is something that you probably wouldn't believe, or this is something that you wouldn't see. Because again, her moon is making an aspect to Jupiter in the fourth house, or like I say, the foundational house, your root chakra. When that root chakra is out of whack, very, very insecure. So if you're very, very insecure, you may try to exert power over people that are influenced by you. So it's an unhealthy dynamic that you are very much aware of, because they're going to do it. So it almost can kind of give me that energy of somebody where they may even try to belittle you in front of other people, but a lot of it is just a power dynamic issue, or like I said, it's just a matter of you're just trying to make yourself look better. It's giving kind of like I think I kind of talked about this with Jamie Foxx as well. Remember what I think I said that when I said that you just take the joke too far. But why are you taking the joke too far? Because it's almost like you're getting off on belittling people because there's something within you that makes you feel inadequate, that feels like that you need these people to do that. You get what I'm saying? Um okay, I was trying to see if you guys had anything. Um about Oh, okay. Karina, I will add that to the list. You guys know you can always comment. I don't care what video it is you comment on, even if it's a video where I did like sign to sign predictions. You guys can just, click on it and just leave a comment. And I have to go back through the videos anyway from the past to go back over um recent suggestions that you guys made. So it's fine. I'll get to it eventually. So back to what I was talking about Lizzo. So I'm gonna take a look at the moon because again, in this event chart, this is Lizzo to me. She is the moon. She is probably going to change her tune. Whenever whatever this is that she's trying to expand on right now, which like I said, business, she could be building a house, whatever the situation is, whenever that becomes to be in dire jeopardy, she will change her tune. I mean, who knows? Since she's in social media, maybe right now she's trying to figure out what she's going to say in terms of social media speaking, in terms of statement, possibly. So let's take a look at the 12th degree of Aquarius. Now, the 12th degree is actually tied to Pisces. So we know Pisces is tied to the dream world, okay? I don't know if Neptune would be tied to inappropriateness. I know ugliness is tied to Saturn, but that's not relevant here unless it is. But I don't know what inappropriate inappropriate behavior and stuff like that would be tied to because I don't think whenever the book of rulership was written that inappropriate was in there. But I guess while I'm here, I can take a look at that to see. Let me go back. Inappropriate. Where is it? Maybe it is in here. Nope, it is not in here. I don't know what other word they would use in this for inappropriate. I'm not sure. But either way, so let's go back to our degree definition. So Aquarius 12 degrees, militant, aggressive, self-defense. Okay. So boot campish. So in terms of us, or in terms of us, yeah, in terms of us looking at this chart to see how Lizzo is feeling about these accusations in her mind. Remember, I said I was getting detachment from her, almost in the manner of not necessarily having any feelings. And already with the Aquarius moon, or with her being on the 12th degree of Aquarius, is coming across very military style, very boot camp. I'm trying to think of a good show where they kind of put you through that type of um to test your limits. I mean, there's a couple shows that's been like that. Um, I mean, I guess the latest one would probably be Special Forces on Fox, where they take all the celebrities and they put them through military boot camp. It could be maybe compared to that. I mean, I've never been to boot camp. Okay. I've had no really desire to go to the military, to be honest, but also at the same time, I've been through some preseason trainings for sports that probably is comparable to boot camp, maybe a little worse. So if it was anything like that, then no thank you. I would not sign up for such a thing. So that militant energy does bother me, especially with the moon making an aspect to the sun, which is power. Remember, I said inappropriate or improper balance dynamic. That's what we have here when it pertains to Lizzo, in my opinion. Okay. And especially with that moon being in the first house of Capricorn. Wasn't I just talked about how Saturn is ugliness and also the moon is a Saturnian sign. So possibly personality wise, even though it's super positive from Lizzo in terms of her stick, whatever, her niche, she may have a pretty ugly personality. One that like I said, people may not necessarily believe, with this being again on a degree of aggressiveness, military style, and in a Saturn rule sign that is tied to ugliness, or Saturn's just tied to ugliness. Yes. But the crazy thing is, Aquarius is the lighter side of Saturn, but in this particular instance, she is absolutely depicting the darker side of Saturn. There's also another energy here that I get from her that comes across as almost like, they're just making these accusations because they wanted to sleep with me. It's just one of those things where it's a little bit diluted in a way for you to maybe think in a way that everybody wants to sleep with you. And she may even possibly have that particular type of personality or energy as well, of thinking that everybody wants to sleep with her. Now, where she came up with that, I'm not sure. There's nothing wrong with being confident, but it's like a fake confidence, you know. So, since we kind of have an idea of, and actually, I'm going to probably look up one more thing. So, another thing to add to what I was already saying before about Lizzo being detached, when the moon is transiting the first house, which it kind of is, this can be someone who is genuinely happy and satisfied at the moment, which is kind of like what I was saying anyway. Until it gets to the point where it is a threat to, we can say, quote unquote, her legacy or however the hell you want to call it, then nothing is going to move, nothing is going to change, probably when it pertains to her attitude. And, she may even, in a weird way, try to see this or take this as a positive. Like I said before, with the moon being on the 12th degree, which is a Pisces degree, kind of diluted thinking. What is it with all these people that we've been reading? And it just seems like they're so freaking darn deluded. It's like there's nothing wrong with being delusional in the manner of what you want to accomplish, but this takes it to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? So, another thing that we want to look at now, since we've kind of looked at Lizzo in this chart, since the dancers are considered Lizzo's employees, we are going to look sixth from Lizzo, because 6 places from Lizzo's planet of the moon will show us the employees and see if they are connecting with her or they're not. Okay. So 6 from Lizzo would, so we're going to count. This is going to be counted as one. We don't skip a house. This is one. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, imagine that. 6 from Lizzo is also the moon. So they're like the same energy. So this is interesting. So we have Lizzo, who is pretty happy in a way in terms of where she's at, okay, who is I guess satisfied. She's also detached, okay, even though she's a bit mean, militant or aggressive in terms of her emotions. We also can say that the dancers themselves are angry, of course, when it pertains to this particular lawsuit. So they're kind of like one and the same, which is kind of interesting. So we're going to take a look at the degree of the seventh house. So the degree of the seventh house is on 19 degrees Cancer. And let's see. The 19th degree of Cancer is service, quick perception, steady mind, teacher, priest, success, obscure. So I would definitely take this as one of those situations where it's like, someone that you looked up to, of course, let you down. Of course. That's kind of like where the dancers are coming from. But in a way, I can possibly see Lizzo feeling the same way. Her feeling let down, probably in a manner of, I didn't think that they were going to file a lawsuit. Because for her, it's like, well, my methods or how I want you to be is not that bad. Which is, that doesn't necessarily make any sense now, does it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I just want to make sure I got it right. Because, yeah. So the two dancers, as well as Lizzo, at this particular point in time, they're feeling the same way. Now, crazy enough, the moon, did it just leave? The moon's about to come into aspect with Mars. We know Mars is the planet of passion, right? And this is going to be happening within the next day. So let's take a look at that. So it's probably going to be, it's too far away. So it's probably going to be what is that? A trine. Probably gonna be Moon trine Mars in the next day. hmm Courage and initiative is what you get whenever Mars and Moon are making a aspect. Again, because of like where Mars is at and where Moon is at, I would kind of take this as or assume that this is probably going to turn into like a trine, like Mars is going to trine Moon, which is why that's an aspect of courage and what is it? Initiative. So it's going to be kind of interesting how this is going to develop because some sort of initiative is going to be taken. Now, of course, Mars right now is in the eighth house of Virgo. Okay. So we have mental health. We may even have accusations tied to maybe even starvation. There may even possibly be something tied to clothes or a clothing designer or who knows, maybe makeup artists or something like that. Those may possibly be some of the next people that may say something or may have a toe in this particular fight. Of course, we're just going to have to see. And let's actually take a look at the degree of Mars Virgo 13 degrees because I don't know. So 13th degree of Virgo, practical, agnostic, honest, hard work, service, ambitious. Okay, now we're running into troubled waters. The agnostic kind of makes me think of you're trying to convert people to your interesting beliefs. I don't know how else to say that. So I don't know if that could be another thing as well. Remember when I talked about the moon god Artemis and I said maybe the moon god Artemis is more so cult like following than Aquarius. Yeah. What do you do whenever you have a cult? You try to mold the mind of those particular people to go along with what you believe in so that they will blindly follow you. So, in my opinion, was there some sort of abuse here? I would say yes. Definitely emotional and definitely mentally, without a doubt. Even if she comes out and says no, or whoever else is a defendant in the case comes out and says no, I would say, of course, you're trying to cover your ass because you just don't want to take ownership. You don't want to take accountability that you were being an ugly teacher. Even though you probably taught them something good, it's hard for you or for them to take the good things that you showed them because the bad things are just outweighing it, you know? Um, Jelly Belly, maybe. Like I said, I don't know her beliefs, but the agnostic word threw off alarm bells in my head. And the Mars is in the eighth house. That we know the eighth house is a house of a cult. And Mars kind of joys in the eighth house because that's naturally where Scorpio is at anyway. So, or it may seem, I'm not saying it's a fact, it may seem possibly to the dancers that maybe in some sort of a way it came across kind of ritualistic, almost like hazing in a fraternity or a sorority. You kind of got to do this to kind of like earn your stripes or prove yourself. I mean, that's bad as well, but that may be how the dancers could have possibly saw this. But Lizzo may have also saw it the same way as well. She may have saw it as well. I'm needing to put them through this particular thing for you to prove yourself. Again, it's a terrible. It's not really power. I've said it before in multiple videos. Power is felt, it's not heard. You don't have to raise your voice, shout, or anything like that when it pertains to showing that you have power because people are going to feel it. You're not even going to have to blink. Just the eye, it's just people just intuitively automatically know. Like, woo, I think I need to stay away from them because they are a mover and a shaker, you know? But for Lizzo, what if it's one of those situations for her where it's almost just like because she doesn't have power, she tries to exert that particular type of power over others. More so, and the thing that works against these dancers, and I would say would be they were blinded. And of course, they probably saw her as an idol. So I get that. But they were blinded in a manner to, like I said, it comes across like it is a cult like following that maybe she is actually trying to get. I don't know if it's one of those things, it's almost like, I don't know if, like Beyonce, she normally has like the same dancers, does she not, when it comes to the people that she goes with all the time? What if Lizzo is maybe trying to copy from Beyonce and have that same type of dynamic? Because we know, as I've said before, the moon is a reflector. So what she was doing, that may have been something that she saw somebody else doing, and maybe it could have been an idol of hers. And it's just like, oh, wow, like they really follow you. They really are just like going all out for you. I kind of want that. Mm-mm. Like, no. Oh, okay. Thank you, Jelly Billy. I didn't think I said that, but okay. But anyway, so from what I'm seeing here, she's in trouble. But that's just my opinion. She's in trouble, and I think a part of Lizzo also that she is in trouble. However, she is trying to act unbothered. She is trying to act detached in this situation when truthfully she really should be shitting a brick because these accusations, in my opinion, I think there definitely is quite a bit of truth to this, and it's probably more than we know, especially again with this Mars being in the eighth house. I really hope that she was not trying to set up sexual situations when it pertains to these dancers because that is terrible, but I would not put it past her. I know we read about the touching, but I'm talking about farther than touching. Remember, like I said before, it's like hazing. You know, I, I'm not a sorority, um, but I've heard some things that is not good whenever you are having to go through that, I guess, quote unquote, hazing process. It's almost like even if you ask them, it's like this hidden secret, So it's like, what the hell are y'all doing behind the curtain that you don't want to speak about? What's that about? You know? So it kind of feels like that in a way. But out of all of the allegations here, accusations against her, it does feel in some sort of way the sex ones or sexuality, sexual harassment, it's probably going to be the one that's going to get her the most because that actually may be the one where they have the most evidence, or I don't know the other word for it. So, like I said, I would say that she is in trouble. Now we know, of course, Lizzo is higher than them, so her lawyer is going to come out fighting. Okay, and there's going to find a way to throw a wrench in the situation and make it seem like that it is the other women's fault. We know how this is going to go. But yeah, she's in trouble. She's a little bit in trouble to me. So we looked at that a little bit, and I'm actually now going to pull up Lizzo's birth chart if they even have it in here. They might. Oh, whoops. That's not right. Oops. Here we go. In today's world, when stuff comes out about celebrities and stuff like that, I just really don't blink. You know, maybe, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I just don't blink. Because it's just like, okay, another day, another situation where you realize that they are human and they are probably more screwed up than you are. So I'm about to share my screen so you guys can look at Lizzo's chart. So here we have Lizzo's chart. So I'm just going to take a look when it pertains to Lizzo's personality. You see how in her chart, I'm going to try and make it bigger if it'll let me. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you see right here, Jupiter is making a positive aspect all the way down to her moon in Virgo. So remember I said moon Jupiter energy is kind of like that signature when it comes to receiving support from the public. And that goes back to what I said in the chart on how I feel or why I think she is detached in this situation because of this right here. I got a feeling that I hate to say it, I got a feeling a sob story may be coming. But anyway, um so let's focus on this moon in Virgo. Now, moon in Virgo, I've heard is actually pretty good when it pertains to business. Okay, but let's just focus on the moon. I don't have, of course, we know we don't have the birth time for Lizzo, so we're just gonna go off of the chart as is at this particular point, just to get a look at the pay. So she has a moon in Virgo. We know Virgo is tied to Mercury. Mercury is your analytical, your like technical or your intellectual mind, okay? So maybe mind like a computer, mind like a calculator. I mean, who knows? She could have been one of those kids maybe in school that could have been pretty good when it pertained to math, or it could just be any sort of skill that she stuck out like a sore thumb, because that's what Virgo is. Virgo is about developing those skills. Okay? Because I mean that's just what it is. Service is skills. It's like I said, health and wellness. It's all that stuff. Okay? So, let's scroll down some more and look at the degree. Now her Virgo moon is on the 18th degree. Now, I have to find my chart because I should. Oh, the 18th degree is a Virgo degree. So super Virgo, meaning personality wise, we probably have a very nitpicky person as well. Like, kind of like how I talked about how Babyface is probably very nitpicky, her as well. But I mean, sorry to say, Lizzo, you ain't no Babyface. And I'm not condoning his, nitpickiness as well. But he kind of has room to be nitpicky because he is the hit maker. He has made some great hits. Okay, Lizzo, you barely got skin in the game, if we're being honest. So let's go. Oh, I need to pull up my other charts. Hold on. Well, I don't think you're going to be able to see this because I'm pulling up on a different screen. Oh, you can't see this, can you? Okay, no, you can't. Okay. Once I get down to it. Okay, I'm going to pull up my astrology and numerology guide so we can break down this number 18. Now, We want to break this down to a single digit so we can really get to the meat and the potatoes of, you know, her personality or her Virgo moon. So I'm about to share this tab once it clicks over. Here we go. So we're right in this section. Once I find my highlighter, where's the little pencil? Oh, whatever. Okay, so right here, I'm just gonna highlight it. If it highlights, there it is. Okay, we're right in this section. So, Virgo or number nine energy. Now, number nine, in terms of planetary speaking, is tied to Mars, even though the nine also, keyword also, has a Virgo undertone. So, what's the highlights here with that nine? We have a leader, we have someone who's humorous. So, take a joke, or maybe they can't take a joke, depends on the person, because not every single nine is going to be the same, of course. We have compassion, we have someone who can be very selfless. We have somebody who can be very inspirational. And isn't it very interesting how inspiration is highlighted under the number nine, and her moon is in Virgo in a sign that is tied to health and wellness? You know what I'm saying? Um, why do we keep budging like that? Now, the challenges that one would face or a person could face with a number nine energy, again, we're still talking about Lizzo's moon, rebellious, humiliating or humiliation, self importance, or laziness. So, you know how Lizzo definitely talks about body positivity and stuff like that? Cool. But what if a part of her personality also is like she maybe is not necessarily putting in enough work when it pertains to achieving that fitness goal? Because maybe, I mean, I don't know if she has a humiliation kink, but what if she has a humiliation kink? And possibly her humiliation kink maybe has something to do when it pertains to her size. I'm not necessarily saying that that's 100% true, but don't know. Okay. But laziness is a big thing with the number nine. And I would say the laziness maybe can come in two ways: boredom, yes, or it can come in the manner of where, those kids where it's always just like, I can't. That, like, one of those things. And it's irritating because you know that they can, they just don't want to apply themselves or push a little bit more because they meet an obstacle and it's just like, oh, I can't do it, cry, you know. But in Lizzo's particular instance, maybe, like I said, the whole weight situation, I mean, I guess we could say she probably may have used the humiliation that maybe was, against her to elevate. Okay, that's fine. But like I said, I don't necessarily think that she may not really be trying hard enough to curve down this whole or weight situation, because it could be one of those things as well that someone may also be kind of like in her ear telling you, no, don't do that, no, don't lose weight, because then what if you lose weight? You are no longer like, hopefully she's not looking at it like what happened to Jennifer Hudson. Remember, Jennifer Hudson was bigger. It's not like she was, big. She was bigger and everybody was on her. But then after she lost weight, it's like nobody's paying any attention to Jennifer Hudson. Hopefully she doesn't think that that is going to be her story, or that would be her story if she decided to do that. But without a doubt, with that number nine energy and being tied to her moon, she doesn't like to be humiliated. However, we may have someone who may humiliate others, especially whenever they are not meeting your expectations. Instead of just accepting the fact that, people have their own way of doing things, it doesn't mean that, the way they do it is wrong. But she may have that expectation for everybody to be like her. And this may be another thing or another projection that the dancers may have unfortunately received from Lizzo. It could have been, well, because I had to be put through this, then you need to be put through it too. What is the point in that? So you're trauma dumping on us because it happened to you. How is that fair? It almost gives me like someone that'll like cut you deep. It's because I had to be humiliated, or I had to be talked down to, or I had to be all these things. You need to feel the same way I felt. There's those unrealistic expectations, and that could be where that militant type of energy came from as well. Where like I was talking about boot camp. Like if I had to go through boot camp, and my boot camp involved doing things maybe sexually that I want to do, then what you think you about to happen to you? So even though she has the qualities of personality wise of being a leader, everybody ain't meant to be a leader, because some people 100% abuse that. And we may have a situation here possibly when it pertains to Lizzo. Like I said, I've said it many times, abuse of power. So let's take a look at the 18th degree of Virgo. Okay, robust excitement of the chase, genuine, critical, respected. But I feel like that kind of goes along with the highlights that I was kind of talking about as well. These are the good qualities. I always give the positive and I always give the negative. These are the good qualities, but it only takes one time for these negative qualities of yours to overshadow the humor, the compassion, the selflessness, the inspiration, the genuine. It just takes one time. And then in the midst of that one time, if she's not corrected by older people or anything like that, unfortunately now we've created a monster. Now these negative qualities are going to turn for you into somewhat of positives. No. So now instead of you being very humorous, now you're going to be known as the one that likes to humiliate people, the one that likes to be too rough, too angry, too insistent, too pushy when it pertains to trying to get people to go through what you went through. And then another lesson here, learn to accept life as it is. And I believe that also goes when it pertains to people as well. Learn to accept people for who they are. Instead of you wanting people to be exactly like you. That's never going to work. You'll never get anywhere. You probably won't really ever have a happy relationship because people are going to be out the door. Nobody wants to deal with that. So I'm going to switch back over to my other tab. And I might read the 18th degree of the in-depth definition of the 18th degree of Virgo. I might read that since it's in on my thing right now. Let's see, shall we? Virgo 18 degrees. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. During a cattle fair, a farmer negotiates with a cattle merchant. Straightforward, independent, clever. One is fond of hunting or cattle rearing. Although one comes across as gruff, one is deeply respected for one's honesty and common sense. But remember, like I said before, that's all fine and dandy until you start showing that negative side of you, and then people don't want to deal. And that may be another thing as well that she needs to possibly sit down with herself and think about, you know, in terms of there's nothing wrong with being straightforward. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But you don't have to be so pushy. You don't have to be so critical, mean, judgmental. You don't have to be all those things for people to respect you, because technically you already have the respect. It's been mentioned 3 times when we looked at all of these degrees. So why must you go to these particular type of methods or means to get respect when you already have it? Now at this point you're just going to run your name in the mud. And you can't blame nobody else but yourself. So is it shocking that we have somebody who lacks accountability? No. Because accountability is a lost art. Okay, is not shocking whatsoever. I'm trying to see if there's a deeper definition than that because it literally was only like 3 lines. It may be, so looking on other ones right now. Um. Okay, so the ability to contact deeper recesses of the unconscious psyche and sensitiveness to psychic intimations and omens. The Ouija board is to be considered here a modern device. Who said it? Did Jelly Belly? You said it, didn't you? Witchcraft. I'm not saying that that's a fact here, but this is another definition for the 18th degree of Virgo. The Ouija board. Contacting forces from the other side, omens, etc., etc., is to be considered a modern device similar to many ancient instruments used for divination and prophecy. Certain states. Has she been pretty open about, prophecy, manifestation, and stuff like that? If so, maybe we're onto something. Now, if she's using a Ouija board and she is so novice or an idiot to that type of practice, what if she didn't brought something over from the other side? These celebrities tend to do that a lot. Certain states of threshold consciousness are stimulated by such a use, and what the experience produces may vary greatly in quality and in origin. The release of unconscious material has lost the explosive force pictorialized in the preceding symbol, yet at this stage, there is still no conscious and willful control over what reaches the ego. Oh, 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 oh. I think we're getting somewhere. That line right there, I feel like is very powerful in a sense when it pertains to this Virgo moon 18 degrees. There is still no conscious and willful control over what reaches the ego consciousness if you are dealing with psychic intimations and omens, which is what I was just saying before. You don't know what you are bringing over from the other side, something that is taken away from the very good parts of you. Mm-mm-mm. Yep, yep, yep. So I don't think there really is anything else we kind of like want to look at when it comes to Lizzo's chart. We looked at the personality, stuff like that. There's oh, I missed one. Fixed stars. Let's see if Lizzo has a fixed star conjunct her moon. She may or she may not. I don't know if there is a fixed star on Virgo 18 degrees, but I'm looking. Yeah, it's too far. So she doesn't. Well, hold on. 18 degrees. What's the seconds on this? Nine. Actually, we might have one. So her moon is on 18 degrees, 9 seconds. And this fixed star that we have right here is on 15 degrees and what is it? 15 degrees and 42 seconds. So that's actually, we'll take that. So fixed star Mazar will be conjunct Lizzo's moon. It's connected with fires of a catastrophic extent and mass calamities. It's one of the seven rishis, and it is considered an unfortunate fixed star. So I'm actually going to see if I can get a little bit more of a definition on that. And this fixed star is tied to Saturn. So what I talk about when we looked at the event chart, ugliness, ugly personality, unfortunately. And maybe this could be something that has developed as she's gotten older. It's like one of those things where, you know, fame has completely went to her head. I don't know if I'm going to find more information on this particular fixed star, but I'm going to try. Mizar. I'm probably not going to get a lot. Oh, okay. We did get something. Oh, thank Jesus. 5242. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay. Where is it? Hers is conjunct the moon, right? Okay, let's see. So with the fixed star Mazar, um, it says it's similar to Mars, which can portray success in war, sports, business, but danger of violent death, ultimate ruin by folly or ego. If rising wealth, power, courage, generosity, ingenuity, rise to authority, martial success, subject to cuts, wounds, accidents, sores, and injuries to the face, pains in the head, and fevers. That's if this is conjunct her ascendant, which we don't know for certain or not because we don't have the exact time. But the reputation of Mazar, if it's in maximal position, is that of being connected with fires of a catastrophic extent and mass calamities. In personal charts, Mazar is not helpful if it conjuncts bad planets. It is not wrong to assume that besides these handicaps, artistic emanations can also be attributed to Mazar. Well, that kind of makes sense. Remember, I said with her personality, we can have an energy here where she is developing a skill. She gets really good at that particular skill, and it could be anything because that's the thing with Virgo. It just takes time with Virgo. It takes time to develop the skill. It's not like you have to tie yourself to be a one trick pony in any sort of way. Because with Virgo, you can learn it, you can become a master as long as you stick with it. So, whatever that would be for her, in this instance, music, instruments, dancing, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay. So, Mazar is also said to presage the death of a loved one by ancient astrologers. So, I'm not sure if she dealt with that. Since it is conjunct moon, it could be a woman, mother, sister, hopefully not like a baby. So, hopefully not like, losing a baby, miscarriage or anything like that. Bizarre means a girdle or waistband. There is no traceable reason for this name appearing here, and it is almost certainly an early Western misspelling of Mirza. Prince for the next star along signifies a man of authority. Let's see. This is also, or Mizar is also said to give a quiet, prudent, suspicious, mistrustful, self controlled, patient nature, but an uneasy spirit and great anger and revengefulness when roused. That's interesting. So, when it pertains to Mizar being conjunct the moon, it's good for voyages, it's good for merchandise, it's good for redemption of captives. The thing is, whenever Mazar is conjunct the moon, in this case, with the fixed star being conjunct Lizzo's moon, in this case, right conduct is rewarded. So, can you imagine what's going to happen if you are being a bad boy or girl? It's not going to be good. Then you're going to be stepping into those waters of becoming very lacking self control, becoming very mistrustful, you know, energetically making people feel uneasy in your presence. That may possibly be where we're at right now, but it's not like this can be changed though. But again, we have someone that possibly fame has gotten to their head. So it just literally just one of those things where she is a performer, she is putting on on a show, but in terms of her personality, it almost comes across where maybe for her she changed her personality or true personality because maybe it was like nice guys always finish last. So what would be the benefit of me being a nice person? It's almost just like I'm rewarded for being mean, which is terrible. So now I think her personality is different than what it actually is. And likely she just lost herself along the way. I don't know when she's going to find herself, but hopefully it will be soon. If not, she will kind of feel the wrath of this fixed star that is conjunct her moon. It won't be pretty, especially since this fixed star is tied to Mars. Mars will come to collect in a very Martian type of way. So, what did it say? Fires, calamity. It could be any of that. So, I really hope she has a come to Jesus meeting with herself because, like I said, I just feel like along the way, she got discouraged and she changed her personality, maybe so people would stop picking on her, humiliating her, whatever the story is. And she just lost her way. But I just feel like deep down, I she has a conscience. That's not really how she is. But unfortunately, the nature of the business, she has made that her thing, and she should not. You know. So I'm going to share Lizzo's chart again. So you guys, if you have any questions, or do you have any questions about what we already talked about when it pertains to Lizzo's chart, or if we need to go back to the event chart that I pulled, we can go back and look at that as well in case there is something that I missed that I didn't necessarily talk about. Oh, you know what? I did not look at an aspect for Lizzo because I wanted to look at this moon opposite North Node. Oh, moon opposite North Node means you may have difficult relationships with women. Mm, mm, mm. Difficult relationships with women, especially your mother, although there is frequently a strong psychic connection to her. The emotions undergo difficult spells, especially you have trouble expressing your sense. I said it. I said that it's deep down within there, but I don't know. She's turned, like I said, it's like you've turned into a monster. Especially you have trouble. Get out the way. Expressing your sensitive side, causing others to see you as cold or more standoffish than what you really are. Getting the support of others does not come easily. You may feel alone, forced to rely on themselves. Losing loved ones is extremely hard on them. The mind is of an unusual nature, and the thought process, what I say, the thought process are different. I said it's like a calculator. That makes sense. She was weird. I mean, I don't know Lizzo's backstory, but I could probably guess that she probably was a weirdo. And she developed this personality so that you guys would love her. This is the manifestation of when you don't love yourself, one, and number two, when you're not okay with who you are. Mm. There are anxieties verging on paranoia or causing crippling fears. You may not be comfortable dealing with crowds. Memories of difficult experiences working with the public from previous incarnations may inhibit your expression and evolution. You are working on strengthening and balancing the emotions, stabilizing the mind, and handling the impressions coming in. If the impressions get away from them, there can be a fascination with occult practices of an unhealthy sort. In some cases, the South Node influence destroys the sensitivity of the moon, bringing out a very cruel and hurtful personality. Okay, people, we've done it again. We've talked our way through this chart and we already brought up pretty much the things that were described in the moon north node aspect. We already talked about that before. So that is interesting. We also talked about, or Jelly Belly mentioned it, and then I talked about it some more as well. An unhealthy fascination with occult practices. This is if your moon or your mind is not stabilized, and that's what we're running into. And again, per this article, you can tell when that energy is not stabilized because it can create a very cruel, a cold, a detaching, a paranoid person, an emotionally charged person who ebbs and flows when it pertains to their emotions, going here, going there, going here, going there, going here, going there. So it's not good. It's almost like sabotage personally, purposefully, excuse me, pushing people away from you. Maybe it's in a sense of you don't necessarily feel like you deserve love because you were already told that you don't deserve love. So again, you developed a personality so that people for real can't love you because they already told you before that you're not lovable. So we definitely have somebody who is struggling really to figure out who the hell they are. It don't matter how many personality changes you go through. At the end of the day, it's not who you are. So you need to come back to the light, but she may not ever come back to the light. Maybe the only way she's going to come back to the light is if she completely lets go of fame, which I don't think is going to happen. So we've lost one, people. It's almost like how people say, those Disney Channel stars, they're so sweet and they're so innocent whenever before they even get on TV, and then they get on TV and then they are completely changed. They're not even the same. They are a freaking mess. Lizzo is almost like that exact assumption, or that exact thing that they say about Disney Channel stars. They are ruined once they step one toe on Hollywood. They are ruined. That person who they were, very smart and da, 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 that is gone. Gone. And that's unfortunate. So another one bites the dust, another person seemingly being ruined by Hollywood. And I hate that for her because, like I said, she can really move up out of this, but it pays to be mean, unfortunately. Even though her own stage persona is the bubble. No, 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 no. So her on stage persona, what if her own stage persona maybe is exactly who she is, but is not who she's being in this particular point? You know what I mean? It's a battle. It's a complete battle. Can I be that people are going to accept? Well, they're not really going to accept the nice me like that because I get ran over. I don't get things. It's so weird how she probably also teeter-totters back and forth based off of what I'm saying as well. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, so like I said, questions. I know I started talking after I asked for questions, but do you guys have any questions about Lizzo's chart or anything we talked about on this particular live today? If not, I'm gonna go back and make sure you guys didn't say anything that I missed. Um, Something about Tupac and P. Diddy. Will this case get solved and will Tupac have justice? They raided someone that was present the day of the shooting. Who knows? I don't know. That one might be a past life reading instead of a chart reading on that when it pertains to Tupac. And I don't know how we would compile a chart when it comes to Diddy and Tupac. I don't know if that would work in this particular instance. Like I said, I think I would definitely have to do a past life reading on him. Anyway, so um yeah, this was today's it pays to date me. Oh, I can't do it. I understand what you're saying, especially in this day and age. I completely understand what you're saying, but I can't do it. I can't. It's hard. It's so hard for me to be mean because I'm just like, oh my God, this doesn't even feel like me. Okay, I'm sorry, you know, but that's just me. But I understand why, though, based off of today's climate, in terms of the people that are out in this world, I get that. I really do. But yeah. So again, you guys, thank you so much for sticking around per usual for another live. Don't forget to drop your suggestions on what you want me to look at next. You can drop them after this video is posted in the replay. If you're watching the replay, thank you. Otherwise, don't forget to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe, okay? And I will see you guys later.